So, let's talk about one of those weird car mysteries that probably sounds familiar. You know, when your car's thermometer seems to think it's living on a completely different planet than you are.
All right, so let me ask you this. Have you ever hopped in your car on a sweltering day and the dashboard says it's like 140 degrees? Or maybe on a cool morning, it claims it's below freezing. It really feels like your car is either playing a joke on you or just straight up lying about the weather.
And this isn't just a weird number on your dash. This little lie can cause some real headaches. We're talking about those wild temperature readings, of course, but also an automatic AC that just decides to go on strike. Or, even worse, it starts blowing hot air right when you need it to be cold. And to top it all off, that dreaded check engine light might just decide to pop on for good measure.
So, what in the world is the culprit behind all this chaos? Well, it's time to pull back the curtain and meet the main suspect in our little mystery. It's a tiny, unassuming part that I like to call your car's secret weatherman.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is the ambient air temperature sensor. Its job sounds simple, but it's absolutely critical. It measures the real-time temperature of the air outside your car and then sends that crucial piece of data to your car's main computers, like the engine control module and the body control module, which handle everything from performance to your in-cabin comforts.
Yeah, it's really the perfect way to think about it. It's your car's own personal weatherman, on duty 24/7, providing these vital weather reports that so many other systems need to do their jobs right.
So where is this thing anyway? Well, you'll usually find it tucked away behind the front grille, or maybe the bumper. And its location is super strategic. It's placed there specifically to keep it out of the direct wind and sun, so it gets a true reading of the air around it, not the heat coming off the hot pavement.
Okay, so when this little weatherman starts, falling down on the job, it leaves a whole trail of clues. Let's open up the evidence locker, so to speak, and take a look at the telltale signs that point to a faulty sensor.
And this is what's so wild, right? You've got this one tiny part failing, and it creates this crazy ripple effect across the whole car. Your dashboard might get stuck on some default reading like -40 degrees. Your climate control's auto mode, it might just give up entirely. Then you could get that check engine light. And believe it or not, in some cars, it can even mess with engine performance, maybe causing a rough idle, all because the main computer is getting bogus weather data.
But really, at the end of the day, the number one piece of evidence, the smoking gun, if you will, is almost always staring you right in the face. The most obvious symptom is that inaccurate temperature on your display. If it's jumping all over the place or is just clearly wrong, this little sensor should be your prime suspect.
Okay, so we've got our suspect, we've reviewed the evidence. Now it's time for the interrogation. We've got two main ways to get a confession out of this sensor and find out for sure if it's the bad guy.
First up, and honestly the easiest way to go for most people, is using a simple tool called an OBD2 scanner, or a code reader. Fun fact, a lot of auto parts stores will even scan your car for free if you ask them. And look, using one of these is super simple. Seriously, you just find the OBD2 port, it's usually under your dashboard, and plug the scanner in. Then turn your key to the on position, but don't start the engine. From there, you just follow the prompts on the scanner to check for any trouble codes, and boom, this is where you get your answer. If that sensor circuit is on the fritz, that scanner is almost certainly going to find a trouble code. You're going to be looking for codes like P0070, P0071, or P0073. Those codes are basically a direct confession from your car's computer saying, hey, there's a problem right here.
But, okay, what if you don't have a scanner? Or maybe you're the type who wants to be absolutely 100% sure it's the sensor itself and not, say, the wiring. Well, that brings us to method number 2, the good old multimeter test. Now, this one's a little more hands-on. A bit more detective work is involved, but it's totally doable. First, you find the sensor and unplug it. Next, you grab your multimeter and set it to measure resistance. That's the little omega symbol. Then, you just carefully touch the 2 probes from the multimeter to the 2 little metal pins on the sensor itself. And finally, you just check the reading.
All right, the tests are done. All the evidence is in. It's time to deliver the final verdict and close this case. Is our little sensor guilty or is it innocent?
And the beauty of this test is that the result is usually black and white. See, a good sensor's resistance will change with the temperature, so it'll give you a specific reading. But a bad sensor, oh, that's going to tell a very different story. It'll usually show either infinite resistance, which means there's a break inside, we call that an open circuit, or it'll show zero resistance, meaning it's shorted out. Either way, that's a guilty verdict.
So yeah, the bottom line is simple. If that multimeter shows an open circuit or a short circuit, you have officially found your culprit. The mystery is solved. You know exactly what needs to be replaced to get everything back to normal.
It's pretty amazing, right? How one tiny, pretty inexpensive part can cause so much chaos in your car's systems. It really makes you wonder what other tiny little sensors are hiding in your car doing a massive job every single day. Thanks for digging into this with me.